Hello, BBH Tribe. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Broken Hungry. For those of you who have been tagging along this journey, and for those of you who are new, I'm your host, Dara Sweat, and super excited you're here. This month's theme is focusing on movement. We are in the month of April, and I just kind of felt like it was a cool topic to have on there. April movement. I don't know, because we're moving from the winter into the spring. Just kind of seemed fitting for me. So this month, I'm really trying to put out a lot of information and dig into all the different kinds of movements that we should be and could be doing to better our mind, body, and soul all around. If you were following along on Instagram and my TikTok, I was on my period this past week, and the movement that I was doing looked totally different than A, what it normally does, and B, what I planned. But that's okay. And I mean, it's not like I didn't know that my period was coming. But sometimes I feel like I can handle the workouts the way that I normally do them. And there's sometimes when I just can't. I stopped taking my birth control back in July. Just a reminder for y'all and an update for some of you who maybe didn't know that. So these past few months, my body's been really detoxing and adjusting to not having those fake hormones pumped in me every single day. So it's been a bit of a journey with that. And I'm being very rude awakeningly reminded about how periods can really be. When I was on birth control, it really was just the only thing that really was like, oh, your period's here is because I was bleeding. I might get a little moody or whatever, but I think I'm just moody in general. So I don't really think that I noticed really much from it. But I'm really, really, really getting those symptoms, and it's not bad. But sometimes being physical is hard. It really, really is hard to get out of bed, hard to just really do anything. So, that's okay. We're actually physically not capable of performing at 100% when Mother Nature takes its toll. And honestly, I am fully embracing that and just respecting my body and what it's going through in this time of mourning. Not to be dramatic, but your uterus is literally peeling away itself because you didn't give it a baby. So it's kind of mourning in this mini way. So, I let my body rest. I still went to Graham. I still did my regular CrossFit workouts, but I did scale way down. I gave all that I could instead of trying to find some energy magically that was coming from nowhere. I just gave what I could. I did a little bit more yoga this week. I've actually been trying to reincorporate this 10-minute lower back flow that I found on YouTube that is super quick and simple. And just with me having herniated disc in my lower back and me trying to sling that weight around, it's really been helpful to balance that. And I haven't been stretching like I should be. I mean, I've been doing the knee stretches and stuff, but as far as full body stretches and targeted stretches, I haven't been doing that because I haven't been doing yoga. So I've been really trying to incorporate that back into my routine, whether it's every day, every other day, 3 times a week, whatever. It's just been feeling really good to fit that into my schedule. So I've been going on longer walks with Bella. That's kind of what I was doing this past week while I was on my period. And that's okay. It's better than doing nothing at all. I'd rather do less than do nothing at all. So let's go ahead and get into it. Have you ever heard of the saying, if you don't move it, you lose it? My 84-year-old grandpa, for those of you who know me, you know him as Opa. He would tell me all the time when I was growing up and as he was getting older, he would say that, if you don't move it, you lose it. Because I'd be like, Opa, why are you getting old, for lack of a better term, and still playing tennis and still doing this, still do that? And he was like, if you don't move it, you lose it. I have to play tennis. I have to move my body, because if I slow down, I'm going to succumb myself to my age, and then I will really start to show my age. And that just always resonated with me, especially now that I'm getting older and, going through different things. And I'm not old, I'm not even 30 yet, so I'm not old, but it's harder for me to do some of the things that maybe it was in college or high school or middle school, and it should be. I shouldn't be able to do the same things I was doing when I was 13 years old. I should be aging a little bit. But moving your body is just good for your health. Period. Exclamation point. All of the things. Like it can look different for everyone. It doesn't. Some people don't. I can't stress this enough. Like if you're not into CrossFit, don't do CrossFit. Don't go to Orange Theory. Don't do what is it, F45. Don't do those high intensity quick things if that's not for you. If you're a yogi and you just want to walk and do yoga, then awesome, do that. I cannot stress that enough. I think I say that every single podcast that I record. Like whatever works for you is what you need to do. But to make sure that you're working in good movement daily, I've got some tips for you. If you're not a yogi, if you haven't found your jam, if you're not a CrossFitter, here's a couple tips for you to help you incorporate movement into your quote unquote, I'm too busy to thank my body for carrying the weight of all my bullshit. If you're in that family, this is for you. Number 1, make movement part of your routine. Take a more purposeful walk with your dog. Don't just walk and let them go to the bathroom and then go back inside. Maybe go around the block. Maybe go around the block twice. Just do a little more purposeful walk. If you don't have a dog and you just have coffee in the morning, take your coffee for a walk. Put it in a little to-go cup and go for a walk, or do a 10-minute yoga flow. If you read the blogs that I post on beyondbrokenhungry.com, I actually linked that yoga flow in the latest blog. So you'll be able to check that out if you want to, or honestly, just type in 10-minute yoga flow for lower back. And I think it's like yoga with Cassandra. I love the video. I literally probably have the whole thing memorized because it's just the only one that I do like almost all the time. All right, number 2, work out over your lunch break. This can mean going to a group fitness class, or just take your walk then, do your yoga then. A lot of people work from home now or do the hybrid thing. So, I'm at the office, I can't really get away from the office thing. I just feel like isn't an excuse anymore. Now, if you're a doctor or a lawyer and you're in an office, I can't speak for everybody and I understand that. But again, this is about finding what works for you, right? So if that's not what works for you, then obviously don't do that. Number 3, take mini breaks. My good girlfriend, Emma, I get notifications on my Apple Watch all the time because we link activity. A couple times a day, she goes, whether by herself or with a coworker, and she just walks around her building. Not only is she getting some fresh air, but she's also getting some movement, and that's so awesome. I mean, you don't have to put your 30 minutes of movement all into 30 minutes straight up back to back. Like you could do 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and then altogether that's 30 minutes. So that's what she does, as well as her workouts. But that's just another way to incorporate the movement. Number 4, make movement the reward for completing your workday. As soon as the clock strikes 5, I don't know where that came from. I've been watching way too many period pieces on Netflix. Sorry about that. As soon as the clock strikes 5, pack up your things and go to the gym or go on your walk. Get your fucking ass up. Insert Kim K. No, but so I work late sometimes. I don't have that typical 9 to 5 schedule like some people do. So sometimes I stop work at 5 o'clock. Sometimes I don't stop work until 8 o'clock. It's really just all over the place because of the many projects that I make myself do. But what I will do, I'm not doing the morning routine anymore. That's just I'm not in that season. I'm not doing the morning where I wake up and I do my 6 a.m. workouts. That's not where I'm at right now. I'm really appreciating my slower mornings that I can ease into my day. And then I can kind of time how much work I'm doing or not doing. By 5 o'clock hits, I stop what I'm doing, and then I go to the 5:30 p.m. class. And if I still need to work out, I'll come back. But that movement is so important to me that I'm going to stop at 5 so that I can do a 5:30 group fitness class and then come back to work if I need to. A lot of the times, the work that I do can wait. It doesn't have to be right then and there. And a lot of times, depending on what you do, maybe your work can wait too. But listen, your health is more important. I'm going to say that again. Your health is more important. One more time for the people in the back. Your health is more important than your work. Thank you. I do realize that everyone's schedule is different and you're going to have to find what works for you. But if you don't move it, you lose it. So Let's get moving. Exercise and movement are about so much more than weight loss, y'all. And I just love this quote that I found on Pinterest. Robin Conley Downs is the person who supposedly said it. I didn't really look into it. I'm really sorry. But I just loved what that sentence says. Exercise and movement are about so much more than just weight loss. That is so true. Practicing a lifestyle where you incorporate movement into your days is something that will bring your life overall balance. It's not about losing weight. Sometimes it's about clearing your mind. When you're upset about work or something a friend said or shared with you, that movement helps just clear that out of your brain, out of your body, because you're holding onto this. Sometimes movement is thanking your body for carrying around that weight of guilt, shame, or whatever, and you're giving it release. You're giving it release. You're thanking your body for holding onto this for you by releasing it. So that movement, you're just going to release that stress. You're going to release that guilt, that shame, everything. So moving your body is so important. If you're not already, maybe you're listening to this and you're like, oh my God, Dara, I already do these things. Good for you. Then this podcast episode is not for you. This podcast episode is for the person who feels like they don't know how to incorporate movement into their day. So if you're not already, try that. Try some of these tips I just listed. Read the blog. I literally am pretty much reading from the blog post because some people like to read, some people like to listen. So I'm covering all my bases. But try these tips, incorporate them into your days, and see how things can start to shift for you. One thing at a time. We're not asking you to be perfect. We're not asking you to flip a coin and it's just like this life or this life. You just gotta one thing at a time, one day at a time. You can't do it all at once because then you're gonna get overwhelmed and you're gonna quit and you're gonna say, well, that didn't work for me. Yeah, it didn't work for you because you didn't do it right. So take it one day at a time. And I'm gonna leave you with that. I hope that you have a great rest of your day or night or whenever it is that you're listening. And you start getting some great movement in. If you haven't gotten your movement in today and there's still time, do it. Get moving. There's only going to be a couple more episodes of this season as I start to shift my focus into researching some hormone gurus to come on and share their insight. So if any of you have questions or you want me to ask certain questions or you have some suggestions of guests that I should bring on, please let me know. I want season 5 to be very, very informative. And I may still be incorporating these quick little episodes in there probably just because I like doing them. But I really, really, really want you to feel super educated as well as motivated in the next season. So there's going to be a couple more episodes after this one. So don't worry, I'm not going anywhere just yet. But when season 4 is over, I will be taking a little bit of a break so that I can really, really get this juicy info for you guys. So till next time, you got this. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Beyond Broken Hungry. If you aren't already, be sure to subscribe to Beyond Broken Hungry wherever you get your podcast so you can get notified every time a new episode drops. It would also mean the world to me if you rate, review, and share the podcast too so more people can join the BBH tribe. Follow this podcast on social media at Beyond Broken Hungry to interact and see how I'm stumbling toward wellness one day at a time. And most importantly, tune back in next week for another episode. See you then.